We're live?
We are alive. We are...
Do a quick confirmation.
Yes. Don't see YouTube yet.
YouTube said it just went live. And Facebook looks like we're up. Okay. I guess things are working
All right.
this week.
We're good.
Cool.
Okay, welcome everybody. I'm Javad Shadzi, the CEO of 034 Motorsport, and this is Nate Stewart, Director of Engineering. And we are here live to answer all your questions. This is a Q&A, M&A, not M,
M&A?
not M&A, an AMA.
There we go.
Very, very big difference. Although I'm sure everyone would love to see Nate and I wrestle to the tap. But no, we won't be doing that. Not today. Anything 034 Motorsport product service related. If you want to ask about our history, we love talking about stuff that we like.
Love talking about ourselves.
What drives us, what things we like. Controversial opinions are our specialty. Apparently this week, setting world records is very controversial.
Is it? I didn't see it. I haven't seen the record.
I think I just want to address this real quick. So the feedback's been pretty, it's been good, obviously. The best is seeing some of the CEOs and owners of our competitor companies trolling our threads like 12-year-olds. That's great. But
it's reassuring to know that's how they're spending their day.
At least they're not doing anything productive. But there's been a number of people who have called into question the fact that we did 220 pounds of lightning of weight reduction, and that the car had certain modifications. And there's one guy on Facebook that I was talking to yesterday,
which I think very clearly specified every single thing we did.
We've specified it, but he was basically saying like this is a heavily modified car that uses a lot of expertise that the average person won't be able to do. And I told him, listen, I appreciate, but you're wrong. There's nothing special. We mounted a Kirky seat. I think that's probably the most difficult thing, and that's you just have to make some brackets. I don't know if you can buy stuff.
Yeah, it's such a can of worms that we always end up in when we try and be very open and forthcoming with our information. Yeah. And literally every single one of these mods is the bare minimum that every other company and every other record
is set with these type of. There's no stock weight.
More. Yeah.
I mean, there is a stock weight record, but the fastest time is never set by a stock weight car. So we did stuff to the passenger and driver's seat. Honestly, you could just leave the driver's seat. It's an extra 50 pounds or whatever. Yeah. You could just remove the passenger seat. You can remove the exhaust. And you can be within 50 pounds of what we did with just an hour's worth of wrenching. Yeah. All the other parts in the car are off-the-shelf parts. Most of our customers install them themselves in their driveway with simple tools, hand tools. The tuning the tuning's off the shelf, and there's the TCU file that we were about to release, which will also be off the shelf. So, I mean, it wasn't custom. It was a pre-production file that we're releasing that everyone else in the world will have if they want it. And then wheels and tires. I think we had to grind a little bit off one of the brake calipers to get the wheel to fit.
Because literally that was the wheel we ended up with, and we had to make it to the track.
You could buy a different wheel that bolts right on. We ended up with these wheels, and they showed up, and then we were going. So we did run the car full stock weight, and we ran 11.2?
11.2.
So 11.2 is still a world record.
And that was on the street too, so completely unprepped surface, just with a much worse DA, I believe, at the time. I think it was like
I don't know what the latest fastest times are, but as of like a month ago, 11.2 would have set the fastest time ever, even faster than the other company that did it with weight reduction. So our stock full weight car ran 11.2. That's really fast.
Yeah.
And this is as simple as that. So if you want to shave off another 0.4 of a second, you know what to do. We told you everything you need to know. Mm-hmm. So,
and honestly, with a better DA, a similar DA to what we were running at the track, we would have probably been even closer. To that.
yeah. Well, some of these are being run with like minus 3,000 foot
I know,
DAs.
it's such a hard.
Yeah. So, anyways,
I don't know why we get held to the fire so much.
Yeah, maybe everyone does, and we just notice it. But no, we're totally open, totally transparent. It happened in Alabama. At a racetrack in Alabama. We were open. We introduced Eric Ernest. We helped him set up a facility in Alabama that does tuning and calibration for 0 through 4 motorsport. So we're open. There's no funny business.
Nope.
Yeah.
We literally had had everybody here on screen. We have video clip recordings, being very open and honest about all of it. So
yes. Okay, that's enough of that.
Yep.
Any questions or follow up? Put them in there. We'll address it. But we've run stock weight. We've run weight reduction. It's all there, guys. Everything you need to know. Bolt-ons, light modifications.
And there's so much.
We told you what to do.
Yeah, we could have gone so much further. Like lots of these guys pull sway bars off, pull all the weight out of it that isn't necessary. None of all that was left. It was literally like
brake rotors, the brake system was untouched.
Yeah, stock brakes, which is also something that's almost never left on a factory setting or a record setting car. So yeah,
and we could have easily pulled another 150 pounds out of the car.
Yeah, no, and this was I think start to finish. If you were like set and ready to go, probably an hour of work.
Yeah, it was 45 minutes according to Nick.
Yeah.
The Kirky seat, there was some amount of effort more than that, but I don't know exactly what they did.
You got to set up a bracket. Like that's
yeah. I think you can make some brackets with sheet metal from Home Depot.
Yep.
All right. So we got questions rolling in here. What's this? There's a couple from last week that we're gonna just hit. What suspension mods should I grab for a Stage 3 MK7 Golf R for drag racing? So we recommend stiffening up the drivetrain. The more efficiently you can lay that power down to the tires, the better. So that means our Street Sport motorsport mounts, engine and transmission mount, subframe inserts, spherical trailing arms, spherical toe arms in the back.
Yep.
Those are the parts that will really help you get more traction. In addition, our dog bone, our motorsport dog bone setup, like this, the full stiffest setup you can get up there.
Yes, yeah, you want the billet arm with both upper and lower inserts, and then it's just a lot of this you want to get rid of these large rubber void and large rubber pieces, and then the voids in those pieces. You'll see on some cars, a fully stock car, you go to launch it, that wheel's just going to start basically oscillating back and forth in the wheel well, and it's a really tough thing to control traction when you've got a wheel that's either bouncing up and down because the driveline's loading and unloading and loading and unloading so quickly, or it's just your suspension's just oscillating as it gains and loses traction because of the movement. So. Yeah.
There's other stuff like you can take the front sway bar off, you can raise the back of the car, lower the front of the car.
Yeah, it really depends how serious you're looking to get here. There's no end to optimizations you can make.
We don't specialize in drag racing.
We are not.
We drag race to prove our products, but we don't sell products specifically for the purpose of making cars more drag racy.
Yeah, and to that point, like literally, like 45 minutes drag prep's kind of where we. Yeah. That's we try and keep it relatable to most cars.
However, if we did, these products that we've listed would
in the car had all these too. Yeah, I mean the equivalent too, but
yeah. All right, SEMA plans. So we are at SEMA. We're set up, and we have S4.0T there, which is our B8.5 S4 with a 4.0T S6 motor installed, running. We didn't drive it there, although we did park our trailer at an Audi dealership in Las Vegas, and then we drove the car to the convention center.
Yeah, the car's running and driving.
It runs and drives. It's making, what did it make on the dyno?
It's like 400 wheel.
Making like 400 wheel and basically a stock tune.
Yep. It's just 91 octane bog stock.
Yeah.
Calibration.
So the
nothing special.
The car is being debuted at SEMA. It's by no means. It's the minimum of what this project will ever be right now.
Yeah, this is like it's together. It's rolling around. We're going to be.
What's our booth number, guys? Can you
that was Can you
we said it last week.
I'm sorry?
Our booth, our SEMA booth
SEMA
number.
booth number.
Yes, let me check.
Yeah.
We'll get that up for you.
And then, so come to our booth. We're in the main hall. We are in the MP Euro Motor Parts Group booth, because that's who we're a division of Euro Motor Parts Group. You'll see the MP booth in the front when you kind of walk in from the front, and then we're in the back corner of that booth.
It's 23429.
The booth
Can you
number.
put it in the notes. I'm gonna put it
Yeah.
up on the screen here.
The booth number is 23429. So yeah, we're gonna throw it up on the screen. If you happen to be there, please come by and say hi. There will be 034 Motorsports staff in the booth at all times. I'll be there here and there. If you want to come by and say, see if I'm there. But we're right in the main hall. We have like prime booth space right in the front with everything. So, you can walk by a bunch of times if we're not there. Just come back. And then SEMA should be interesting this year. Be interesting to see how attendance is. It will be mostly Americans there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many people will be there. And then there will be people probably not wearing masks, and then there'll be like gunfights. It should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how
Maybe
this all goes
riding.
down.
So we'll see how that goes. I don't think SEMA's the mask wearing demographic.
But yeah, it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be wearing them indoors, according to Vegas.
The SEMA show requires it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just any trade show, any convention, anything you go to. It's all masks anywhere you go. Some parts probably not, but they don't have conventions there.
Yeah.
Any updates on B9 A4 tunes? This is on our development list, but it hasn't been a real high priority. The A4 market really hasn't taken off. Nothing like the S4 market, which is like blazing red hot. So I think our goal will be to finish B9 A4 tuning and release that next year sometime. But we're currently heavily focused on B9 S4, B9 RS5, B8 S4, MQB 2.0T applications, and we're updating our DAZA file 4.0T. Those are really the things we're working on right now.
And I didn't think it was going to be so hard to get some text up here. 1 second.
Yeah, don't stop. It's
It's
23429.
almost as bad as a print.
If you guys want to stick it in the,
I sent it over.
that's okay. Don't worry about it.
Nah, it's-
You're
I'll
probably
read
gonna
it.
like crash the whole show.
I got it. I found the button I was looking for here.
DQ381 TCU ETA update. Are we still on track to release this upgrade soon?
Yes, we are. We've got a couple of other, cars we need to get set up so that we can just finalize that calibration. It's going to be that and the DQ500. We'll both get updates at the same time. So we're just getting the TTRS here set up and ready for it. And then once that's done, it'll be pretty quick at that point.
Yeah, it's in the next month or so, I think.
Yeah, as long as the car's.
I know we've said that
Also,
before,
yep,
but
it's-
we can actually flash it now. And
Oh no, it's just like I said, getting the car ready.
yeah. Will 034 ever release a coilover product? Not currently. We have no plans for it. The 034 Motorsport suspension offering is a fixed rate or variable rates, fixed height coil spring, a lowering spring.
Yeah.
We really believe that we can bring the most value to the customer with basically the most optimized handling experience, as good or as close to what any reasonably priced coilover could get, without the customer having to worry about setting it and adjusting it. And so we can offer a spring for $300, $350, a spring set that drops right in, that you can run world-class lap times in, with the rest of our products.
Yep.
Added in as well, like our sway bars and inserts. So I don't think we will. A lot of the coilovers out there are unreliable, are failure prone. are really tough to set up, and a lot of people, I would say the majority of people who have coilovers on their cars do not have them set correctly, and their car would handle better with our springs than whatever coilover setup they have. I actually experienced this recently. I really gotten into biking and mountain biking, and so I picked up a used mountain bike, and I found this one that had this like upgraded front shock, and it's like adjustable rebound damping on the top and the bottom, and it has all these adjustments. And in a few months, I haven't been able to like get it to handle as well as some of my other friends who have bikes with simpler, cheaper shocks on them. They're really good ones, but they just have kind of like 3 adjustments on the top. And so I actually just bought another bike with a simpler shock like that, and I'm actually enjoying riding that more. You know, and it probably has a $600 shock, and the one on my bike's probably like $1,500. You know, and the $1,500 one I can't. And I actually know a lot about suspension
And setting it up basically.
Yeah, but I also don't want to. You know, I don't want to go out to the trail and spend all day fucking with my shock. I just want to ride. You know, I got an hour to go riding.
Yeah.
Hour and a half. I want to burn 400, 500, 600 calories. I don't want to fuck with shocks.
You could burn a lot of calories messing with your shocks. And you just lift the bike up
Just
and down
like
a bunch.
this.
And, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. You get to go to the track twice a year. Do you want to spend the whole day fucking with your shock settings? You know, that's the kind of thing race teams do. They have crews and they have engineers and they do setups and they have test days just for that.
Yep.
So our thing is buy our stuff, bolt it on your car, enjoy yourself, go fast, have a great time. That's it.
Yep.
I can hear the dyno in the background.
Man,
What sort of testing is
not
going
killing
on? I'm
our-
surprised you can hear that.
Yeah.
It should be, we are doing some intercooler testing
Yep.
on our in-house Mark 7 GTI. So we're way late to this party, but we will be releasing a tube and fin front mount intercooler for MQB GTI 2.0T applications.
Yep.
And so we don't always mess with competitor products, but in this case we've brought in what we feel are 3 of the best competitor products on the market. And we're doing testing validation against those. Our goal is to offer or release the best performing, lightest intercooler on the market. These bar and plate intercoolers, we've talked about this a lot in the past, they have a lot of thermal mass, which is nice if you're drag racing or going slow. But like on a road course or driving at speed, that's just extra weight on the front of the car. So our goal is to offer a very efficient, light, good flowing front mount intercooler.
Yeah.
That's a direct bolt in with no modifications. So that's what we're testing currently. Now everyone's going to be like, "What's the ETA on that?"
I know,
Every week.
yeah.
Shouldn't have said anything. B9 3.0T, safe oil temp before you start pushing the car. Is 160 enough? Looks like 180 is the set point.
I mean, I'd say wait till it gets up to temp. I'd say 180 is probably a good starting point to really start pushing things. So, I mean, we're talking a minute or so of warm up. It's not like it's.
Yeah, it shouldn't be hard to get it up to town. I honestly have been beating on cold cars for years and have never had a problem. But technically speaking, you should wait. Mainly because the viscosity of the oil, is more optimal.
It's
when
quite
it gets
different
to
when it's
temperature.
cold.
Yeah, it's designed to be thicker when it's cold, because things are cold and they haven't tightened up and expanded. But as things in the motor warm up and expand, the tolerances get tighter. The oil needs to be looser. So you're basically, if you really put stress on a ice cold motor, you're putting it on a motor that has tolerances that are much bigger than would support the kind of load that you're giving the motor.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing magical about hot and cold motors. It's just things expand, and those expansion amounts and rates have to be accounted for, and all the clearances. We're talking about 1,000th here and there, and so your bearing clearances could halve by the time the motor is warm. So that's a big reason why there's all these different weight oils and things like that. But yeah, I mean, spend a minute and warm it up, but you don't have to be fanatical about it either. Generally, I would say after 30 to 60 seconds, assuming that the car is moving under its own weight, that, you know.
Yeah, let it get out of its cold start process.
Things will get up to
time. Go from off to red line.
Yeah.
Crackle show offs right away.
There's some other issues with like condensation on the port walls. These cars are FSI.
It's surprising how much water actually ends up living in your motor after shutdown.
Yeah.
It's a nice warm place for condensation and vapor to collect. And there's oil temperature has to get up to at least water boiling points as the motor warms up to boil all that off eventually. So.
And that's why it's so important that we talk about this all the time too, that you don't drive your car 1 minute every day for a month. You need to get it hot. That's why coolant temps are above 212 degrees. There's
oil temps and all that. Yep.
There's no coolant system
supposed to be above boiling.
You want the oil in the motor to be above 212 degrees. That's why oil systems target 250 degrees, 250 degrees because it boils off that water. Yep. Otherwise, if you had an oil system that only ever got to 150 Fahrenheit, your motor would literally fill up with oil.
Yeah, that's why you should never run an oil cooler with a thermostatic plate.
Your motor would fill up with water.
It would fill up with water, yes.
With condensed water.
You'd think it'd fill up with oil because all your water's at the bottom and your oil's floating to the top.
No.
But, you'd have a pile of water in there. And the coolant temps and whatnot is another thing I think we've touched on a little bit, but all of the temperatures these days are very tightly controlled within the ECU and what it's trying to target. And you'll see temperatures, cruising light load, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, my car is like running hot or whatever if you're logging it. Mm-hmm. It's very common these days for OEMs to target mid 100 plus C. So you'll see like 105, 107 C targeted, just cruising, because that comes back to getting everything hot and your clearances change, your tolerances change, your oil actually, or your motor actually spins a little more freely at the higher temps with the thinner oil due to the more viscous oil due to the higher temps. So the coolant temps are not in the olden days where you just picked a thermostat and that was your temperature. It's much more dynamic and controlled.
Let's see. What should we expect from the TCU tune, performance-wise, for the B9?
It's
our world record.
Yeah, it's actually pretty substantial from like a drag race dead stop AMAX style shifting standpoint. We did a lot of work in there optimizing those shift points and the shift strategy for drag racing. Road course stuff, like on the street and whatnot, you're not going to see that much of a benefit. It is going to shift, still a little crisper and a little more optimized shift points. But most of the magic is in the, from the launch and get-go. And it's pretty dramatic. I want to say 2 to 3 tenths.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's going to be awesome. So it will be sold as so if you already have our stage 1, then you'll just have to pay the incremental difference. And of course I guess we'll sell it on its own too.
Oh yeah, it'll be available on its own.
If you want to purchase it on its own, you can. But for everyone that currently has stage 1 or stage 2, there will be
in this
a relatively
case,
small
since
fee.
we gave the TCU was free because it was just a.
But there was a value.
Yeah, we did apply a value.
We did apply a value. Yes, so I think it's going to be like, I didn't want to say, but it's going to be like.
It'll be reduced from each photo. Yeah.
So
that sounds right.
About that much. No, it'll be very reasonable. Totally well worth it. And one of the benefits of our upgrade path, the upgrade path that we offer, is these type of little incremental updates. And in many cases, they're free, but when it's actually a new product, you just pay the difference.
Yep.
What's the ideal stage 1 setup? What other add-ons do you recommend for a 2021 S5 Sportback?
Yep. So we basically call this a 1 Plus, where you've got all of the supporting hardware.
That's where it's at.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, essentially, I'd say really close to a stage 2 level. Power.
You get about 60% of the benefits,
Yeah.
70%
So
of the benefits.
it's, intake, intercooler.
They take an intercooler.
That's really it.
That's
I mean,
it.
yeah, that's
all you really
quirks in
need. You don't need to mess with the exhaust. You could put a ResX in, make it a little louder, but
Yep.
And that gets you about 3/4 of the stage 2 power gain, but keeping your stock cat intact.
Right.
So if you want the extra 10 horsepower, you got to go stage 2, and that's worth it for a lot of people. But yeah, we obviously want to sell more stage 2, but we're really happy to be able to offer such a powerful stage 1 plus.
Yeah.
And again, stage 1 plus is stage 1 with an intercooler and intake.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's tough to explain that because all of our numbers, we try and publish it on a own stock car, no modifications, so everybody can see, the minimum of what they're going to get with our
Yeah.
software. So,
And if you do that and you have access to E85, and God help all the Camaros and Mustangs in your city, you're going to have a very, very fast. You're going to have a low to mid tens, streetcar. Sorry, 11s.
Low to mid 11s. Yes.
Low to mid
Wow.
11 streetcar. Or high tens if
Honestly,
you
I'd
want
say
to
high
spend
tens is probably in the realm.
If you want to spend an hour doing some weight reduction,
Yeah.
very controversial weight reduction, you could get into the tens. Of course, stage 2 will get there a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Will the stage 1 tune for the B9 ever eliminate the check engine light from a downpipe? We want to make it to stage 2 gradually and want the sound of a downpipe, but don't want to deal with the check engine light. No,
No, it won't. It was no reason we would ever do that.
we will never do that.
Stage 2 is for
That's what stage 2 is for.
It's a racing application with a downpipe.
I mean, why wouldn't you just go stage 2?
Yeah, I don't know.
That makes no sense. It's $100
Yeah.
or whatever. What's the price difference?
100.
Yeah, it's
You pay $100, you get stage 2. So if you'd like stage 1 with the check engine light off, it's $100. Go to our website, click on the stage 2, and download that.
It sounds like he has the stage 1 tune already.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to pay $100 to turn off your check engine light. But I don't recommend running a high flow cat with stage 1. There's no. That's what stage 2 is. If you want, again, you can do 1 plus. Keep your stock cat. I don't know how gradual it could be done. I mean, there's a minimum amount of graduality that can be applied.
yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not a huge paradigm shift going to stage 2. We're talking a couple of bolt-ons.
If you want to do it gradually, you can do stage 1, then you do 1 plus, then you go stage 2. There's 3 steps. You can't really break it up any more than that. E85 is not really available in the UK, so what other options are there for us on SQ5 B9?
Yeah, we've been talking about doing more race gas files.
Yeah,
They'll be
we
coming.
will. We will.
We'll have more.
I mean, you said not really available, which makes it sound like it's available. So I would recommend ordering
give it a try.
a couple 55 or however many liter drums of E85 as you can get your hands on in the UK. You can even mix it down to like E65 and like stretch it
a little bit.
That way you don't have to go full E85. But yeah, I would look into that because I mean, race gas is very expensive. Like 100 octane, 105. It's much more expensive than E85. Although I don't know how much E85 costs in the UK, so
Right.
it might not be any different.
Yeah, but it's like
But
a
then if
factor
it's-
of 5 here. I mean, we're talking like.
But if it's not any different, then why not do it? So the question is E85 a lot more expensive in the UK?
I believe it's not very available.
I know
you
availability
have
is
to
tough and a
import
lot.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part, from what I hear.
Group buy.
Right. You gotta find a guy that knows a guy
Yeah,
that's
Propel.
been there before.
Propel group buy. Let's go. High pressure fuel pump for the B9 RS5. That's something we're working on.
Yep.
It's a ways out. From what we can tell, nobody is doing this. It sounds like APR won't be offering it. It's too much work. So we're working on it, and it's going to be, these fuel pump upgrades will be critical for the future of B9 S4 RS5 tuning in general. What's your best guess on power gains from ported blower?
So back to B8 S4 world.
But we're not really in the guessing game.
Yeah, I hate doing this stuff.
I don't think we would hazard to guess anything.
No, and it's going to obviously depend on what port job, what other mods on the car.
Yeah, and this question is saying that ported blower. Well, there's no such thing as ported
There's
blower.
no one standard ported blower.
There are blowers that are ported, but I mean that's like saying, you know, what a grilled cheese sandwich can do. Well, I don't know. There's, you know, how many grilled cheeses do you want to compare? So, but if you'd like, you can go out and look around, and there are proven power gains from various ported blower applications that are available. Jokers and JXB, and I don't know.
No, he doesn't do the porting. I mean, Matty did. Honestly, you know, Joker's still doing them. There's a couple other guys that have picked up the torch. So, and it's tough. This is one of those things where it's almost, or I don't think I've still ever seen a solid like scientific method back to back.
Yeah.
You know, isolated variables,
Like
same
we
day
do
dynoing
here.
like we would do for our products. So it's really tough.
And there's another one that says Jokers claims 67 horsepower. And it's hard to say.
It's
Like
really hard
Nate's
to say.
saying, we can't comment on their dynos. I would say, generally speaking, a very healthy skepticism of dynos out in the world is logical. Be skeptical of ours, but we'll tell you exactly how
We'll
we
tell
do
you
it.
how we did them, what went
Ours
into it.
are reliable. We make sure of it. But yeah, I mean, there's some big percentage of dynos in the tuning aftermarket are just made up or lies or manipulated.
Yeah, or it's just unrelatable. Like you know, you've changed a number of other things. It's shockingly hard to get reliable, repeatable data when you're dealing with such a complex system as a vehicle on a chassis. You'd be, you know, pretty surprised how long it takes to get really good, you know, applicable data that actually, you know, isolates what you're trying to test.
That's comparable with isolated variables.
Yeah.
You know, because it's easy to create two results, and you know, if you change other stuff, or the temperature is cooler or hotter, or the humidity changes, or the calibration settings on the dyno change, you know, these are all variables that aren't isolated, that aren't being controlled. So it's really key that if you want to know what one variable does when you change it, then you have to make sure that no other variables change at the same time.
Yep.
You isolate that variable, and you precisely control that.
And
Almost nobody does that.
No, what we normally do, obviously depends on the product we're testing, but we will do a baseline before. We will test the product. We go back to our baseline, ensure that nothing has changed in between those, and if we need to, you know, test the product and rinse and repeat until we've got, you know, a stabilized set of data coming through. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's not an easy task.
I love what you guys did for the B8 S4 advanced launch controller. You guys going to develop an ignition cut two-step in the B9, a flame map, rolling anti-lag.
Yes, all of that is coming.
Yeah.
Yep, we've talked about it before, but you will have similar launch control setups, rolling anti-lag. All of that is getting baked in.
And that will be a free upgrade for anyone that owns
That'll come along with all of our
tuning.
software.
So now's a good time to jump in, enjoy it, and then get those benefits as they roll out. We've already released one major update with added functionality. We don't currently have plans for 3.0 yet, but we're working on the next
version
one.
3, yeah.
The next update will be called version 3, and then
Yeah, if it's a big feature update or a large mapping change, yep, we'll do it in version 3, and you know, we're not stopping there.
ETA on that, you know, I don't know. It's going to be a little while, but
Yeah, when it's done, but I don't know.
we're focused on a few other things first.
Yeah, we did this with the BA too. Is we want to get the calibration not locked down, but developed to a point, you know, and put as much effort as we can there, because that's fundamentally the 99% of your experience is going to be in that, you know, rock solid, well-performing, well-rounded calibration.
Yeah.
The features on top can kind of muddy the waters if you're just focusing on those all the time and not actually getting the base calibration locked in and setting records on that. And then you can get, you know, these you know, adjustability on top of that, which can help everybody go even faster and more reliably. So
So someone says, when will C7 motor mounts hit the market? It's been in R&D for 3 years. I don't think so. How would anyone even know that?
I don't know where these people get these things.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing these live chats for a little over a year and a half now,
Right.
which would have been the first time we would have even mentioned it. But anyways, these type of products, they have their own time schedule, and the schedule is dictated by is it the right product? Does it do what we say it will? Is it reliable?
Have we tested it
Is
thoroughly?
it tested thoroughly?
You know, and testing is,
Yeah.
you're never finished, but it takes a lot of time
Yeah.
to get the average use,
Right.
you know, environments and expectations.
But I will say
in the field.
it's out of R&D. It's in the manufacturing phase, and I don't want to keep throwing out dates and ETAs, but it should be Q1, maybe Q2 next year. So they're definitely coming. But these aren't easy products to do. I mean, that's why we're literally the first ones to release a 4.0 T motor mount on the market, because they're hard to do and to do right.
I gotta order a new light.
Yeah.
That thing is
Are
done.
people complaining about that?
No, I am. I'm like twitching and things flashing in my face here.
Black Friday sale? Question mark.
Nah.
Black Friday is in about 3 weeks. Well, you do the math. There's this one's good. B8.5 X brace compared to Eurocodes or OEM. Well, ours is much more rigid and stiff than the OEM piece, which is the whole purpose of the product. The Eurocode piece is they offer 2 versions that are machined. Our X brace has tabs, and so you can move the tabs from the B8 to a B8.5 position. So instead of offering 2 parts, we offer one, and if you have a B8 or B8.5, it'll fit either, and you just locate the tabs.
There's a mechanical interlock there,
Yeah.
so you've got both, hardware capturing it,
Mhm.
and it's a keyed interface there in the aluminum, so it's just as rigid as basically the billet piece
Yeah.
and what it needs to be.
And you should buy ours. Ours is better than the Eurocode unit. So ours came out after. They're the first. To be fair, they're the first ones to do it on the market. There was a lot of demand for the product. We had a lot of customers asking us to do it, so we came up with this unique little innovative change where it fits both applications. I see ECS has knocked it off too now. So. What are your thoughts on single? The hell, things are moving around. What are your thoughts on single crank pulley with a dual pulley ratio for B8.5 S4? Dual pulley ratio?
Hold on, I was reading something else. Here's where are you?
What are your thoughts on a single crank pulley with dual pulley ratio?
Yeah, that's just running a larger, lower pulley.
Yeah,
Um,
it's fine as long as
Totally.
you get the right ratio.
It's all about the ratio. I mean, the ratio, in the math, the ratio is going to be how fast your crank spins to how fast your supercharger spins. So, if you're landing it in what is a normal 2+ ratio range, it's going to perform, power-wise the same.
Mm-hmm.
There's arguments to be said one way or the other for, additional, reciprocating mass versus, but then you end up with more belt surface as well. So it's a wash, I think, either way. I don't think you're going to notice really much of a difference.
Yeah. Is it possible to run your Stage 2 tune on an S5 B9 with a high flow cat but no intercooler during colder months of the winter? Planning to install the intercooler next spring. Yeah, absolutely. Stage 2 doesn't require a bigger intercooler. It's a good idea. But the main thing that Stage 2 does is it accounts for the high flow cat and eliminates, the check engine light is for racing use. But in cooler temps, you can definitely get away with less intercooler. And, generally, I mean, if you're going to go ice racing and under wide open throttle for 4 hours in a row, I'd recommend getting an intercooler, no matter how cold it is. But if you're just mostly, doing light driving and blasting through a gear here and there, and, you're not tracking the car, and getting it really hot. Even if you were, our tuning would account for it. You just lose power. So yes, you can absolutely do that. There's no problem in upgrading next spring. The main thing is, if you don't have an intercooler, the heat management in the software will reduce power output as temperatures rise, based on how hard you drive the car. B9 SQ5 Intake, sway bar, and other bits. ETA, is Santa bringing these? Will they be out by Christmas? I don't think sway bars will be. We are still finalizing those. Those are in R&D. The intake, maybe. It could be. Not making any promises because supply chain's really jacked right now, but they are being manufactured, and there's a good chance that we will have those by Christmas. When we have lowering links coming for the SQ5, a bevy of products really for the SQ5, thanks to Nick Mercadante, our marketing manager,
single-handedly,
who loves the SQ5, and thankfully you guys do too. So it's turned out to be, I think it's really the first SU. We definitely have
really
some
put some focus into that.
We have some B8 SQ5 products, but the B9 SQ5 has really taken off, and it's a really nice car. So did you hear this? At Laguna, the SQ5, 6 seconds is a lot, but it's also not very much. Our SQ5 was running about 6 seconds a lap from the R8, both on similar tires.
That's pretty ridiculous.
Again, for the SQ5
also,
to run 6 seconds faster.
Let's clarify that. That's also with Gary driving the R8.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick driving the SQ5. Not to diss on Nick, but Gary's not leaving any really much on the table.
No, that's a really fair comparison as far as the R8 was being driven very, very well, and Gary could probably drive the SQ5 a little faster.
Yes.
So.
Yep. And that's like stock brakes,
with
like brake pads on.
Of course, it only was able to do that for about 2 laps.
Yeah.
And then everything caught on fire.
Yeah.
The R8 can do it all day.
Brake-wise caught on fire.
Yeah. The R8 could do that all day.
Yeah.
And it did.
We were out there
for about
hours.
an hour straight, just lapping at full speed. No, full brakes, full everything. It's a wonderful track car, but it's pretty insane. I mean, the SQ5 benefits by having substantially more power, probably double the torque of the R8.
Yeah.
And not in the rear, but it has 295s all the way around in the SQ5. So it's got a ton of power, a ton of traction, a lot of grip. And it's got some of our modifications on it that are really helping. The R8 has just as much tire in the rear.
Yes.
Loving the new setup behind you guys. What's in the display cases?
Oh, what is in there?
These are some display cases from our entryway that we're now filling up with employees. As it turned, we've converted our entryway into office space. So these are just various products and samples showing our different products. Some raw machined parts. These are actually like manufacturing mess ups. Looks like the CNC, some kind of tooling bit went awry, and so these are rejects. You've got density mounts cut in half, kind of display type stuff. So these were in our front entryway, and so for me, when I would be giving a tour, I would talk about some of the stuff. And then these are some of just a few of the trophies. Whoa. We've won over the years.
Back in the day when we were able to do magazines.
This is the 2011 Eurotuner GP overall champion, which means, 2011, it means there was 3 events: drag racing, dyno, and road course. And it means we won all 3 events. So we swept the whole thing. And everyone hated us.
We were not liked.
And the reason they were mad about it in 2012 is because in 2011, we did the same thing. So every year we would just go and sweep the whole thing, and nobody else would win anything. And so then actually one year they did a participation trophy.
People stopped coming.
basically people were like, we're not going to come because 034 is just going to beat, win like every year. And so then they said, don't worry, we'll just do participation awards. But they didn't tell anyone, or they didn't tell me.
Maybe they just didn't tell you.
And so we went, we swept, we won. And then we got a fucking participation trophy.
Thanks for coming trophy.
And I fucking was livid because I don't work this hard to participate. I'm not a participator, sorry. I want to fuck you up. If we're in a competition, I want to fucking beat your shit and make you feel terrible. That's why I work so hard, not to get a participation trophy. So, but that's what we got that year. And then I said we're not coming, and then they went back to having awards and we won again. So, what are you gonna do? People's feelings. What do you predict for stage 3 power gains for B9 S4? It's hard to say. Horsepower will go up.
This is another guesstimate that we don't like giving until
torque will come down some amount.
Yeah, I think right now with the hybrids that we're going to be focusing on, we're going to be basically at the same torque level we're at now, a little bit later.
Yeah,
but it'll hold the same amount of torque, and then it'll hold it longer as well. So you're going to see the more power come in.
We are limited by the peak torque number just by being safe for the engine.
And safe for the engine, fueling limitations, that kind of thing. As we have more pumps and different fueling options, that'll change. But yeah, the motor itself, or the motor itself, we're not going to target much over 600 wheel torque on anything.
Can you guys look up what's the nearest dealer in Vancouver? And then also, can you look up do we know the B8 or B8 world record off the top of our heads?
No.
Just throw it in there. Holy Stage 1 Revision 2 tune on the B9. Just flashed it this morning. It's so obnoxiously crackly. I love it. LOL. Good. It's good. It's nice if you enjoy being obnoxious, because obnoxious is so fun and easy.
It is fun and easy, but it's also I don't know. I wouldn't call it obnoxious either.
Well, if he likes it.
I'll call if you want it to be. If it's what you want it to be, that's great. But it's certainly more crackles than original than our last generation.
Are you guys going to do big turbo software options for the B9 S4, B9 RS5? If so, which ones? Yes, absolutely,
100%.
We will likely do pure and
on the
TTE.
TTE likely again.
Those two. A lot of it's driven by what's out there, what's the availability, what have people
market adoption,
what are people liking. But on the S4, we're doing TTE and pure turbos. So, and I expect to see all that next year. Hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah.
I'm loving the tune. I just beat a RedEye. What's a RedEye? What did I miss? The type of.
I mean, overnight flight would be what I.
Was that harder?
Like a Hemi. Hemi something?
Yeah. The
Hellcat.
it's the Hellcat.
Awesome.
I think it's the one above it.
Yeah.
Friend of mine.
Cool.
Friend of mine just bought one. I can't remember what it's called now.
Congrats. Enjoy. Have fun. Be safe.
Angry Kitty or
Great. What's your world record quarter mile time for the B8.5 S4? It's a 10.2 at 135.
Yeah, it was set by Maddie.
Matt Tremblay. Did a great job on that, and that was, I don't know, like a year ago, something like that.
Yeah.
I think it was last.
It was a little over a year ago, I think.
Yeah, it was September of 2020.
Yep. And others said they were coming right up behind to beat it. So,
any comment on the random fan issue that still affects some people on the B9 S4?
we're trying to isolate that. I think that I have 2 outstanding tickets right now. So yeah, we're looking at it. The fans are certainly more aggressive, but it sounds like this is something that is more active than it should be. But it's extremely isolated right now. So we're trying to narrow down why it might be running more than it's supposed to.
Jesus.
Oh god, yeah. It loves to lock a keyboard sometimes.
Are you guys? Can you guys delete the ones we've already hit? Hi, rather than buying a B8 B8.5 S4, could I rather buy a C7 A6 or A7 3.0T for your stage 3 for your 034 stage 2 plus tune and achieve the same power levels? Is there anything specific that you can't use on the A6 or A7? Thanks, I love your company. Well, we love you too.
Really, no. It depends on what A6, A7 you're looking at. So right now, you're going to have a lot easier time modifying the pre-facelift C7, A6, or A7 with the non-CREC motor.
Right.
So it's super easy to tell. If you pop the hood and you see 4 bolts in the supercharger pulley, that's going to be the later CREC clutch style supercharger. So currently, if you want the broadest support for aftermarket and the same go fast goodies that fit on all the S4s and S5s, just find one that's got the earlier gen motor in it.
Yeah. Just stay away from the CREC. It's actually
It's
a
a
nicer
great
motor.
It's just
Yeah.
it's a very limited production window that it was offered here.
There's just a few cars.
So it's it's lagging behind currently on aftermarket support due to that.
We just had a customer in our Facebook group, our 034 Motorsport Facebook group, with an A6 C7, and he ran low 11s.
Yeah, no, they're
really fast.
quite close to the S4
Yeah.
and S5 times. It's kind of shocking.
Yeah, it was crazy. I think he ran 11.2.
Yeah.
0 to 60 was like 3 seconds. He had 60 foot of like 1.6. Really solid.
Yeah,
stuff.
they get up and go. You're not really giving up much on the performance side.
It's pretty much the same car. The B8, the C7. I mean, they're not that different.
Oh, underpinning wise, yeah.
It's
It's a different transmission and whatnot. That's going to be the biggest difference between the two.
But when you're driving it, it's going to be similar.
The tech inside is certainly nicer on the on the A6, A7.
On that side, the higher you go up, the tech gets better. You get into the A8 stuff; it's really nice.
Yes.
What's the most power that's safe for the A6 C7.5 3.0 TFSI ZF8 2016? Is it true that supercharger has some issues? Is this the CREC?
Hold on, let me see. I missed that question. I was reading something else.
Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, here's the super. It's not the yes. The supercharger does have some considerations that have to be made. The clutch on it, or it has a clutch on it that engages and disengages the impellers on the supercharger to the belt. As people are winding those motors up more and more, it's becoming pretty standard that those clutches start to give up at a certain RPM level of the supercharger. So yeah, that is a current limitation on that motor.
Yeah.
That's going to need, some hardware to overcome.
Are there any 034 Motorsport dealers in Vancouver, British Columbia? And we do have a dealer called PG Performance in Surrey, British Columbia. If you go to our website and you go to the bottom of the homepage, there's a dealer locator link. You can click on that, locate to your heart's content. If you have a tuning shop that you like, go in there and ask them to become a 034 Motorsport dealer, and we'd be happy to sign them up. And then you can buy from your favorite place as well.
Yep. Do you want to talk about the A5 times or the B8 A4 times? Nick was just.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we had a customer running our Stage 2 E85 on the B8 A4. Took it to the drag strip last week.
Oh really?
Yep.
I didn't even hear about this.
It's just like
Really?
Friday.
Really?
So as far as I know, this is the stock turbo record on that platform as well.
Whoa. Dude.
So he did we're going to get it all together. Quarter mile in 12.6. 12.667. Which those things stock, I think, are mid 14s.
They're slow.
We were going to compile all the data. Then the next closest one I can find with a stock turbo was a 13.2. So that kind of shows you. And that was on E85 apparently, and
There we go.
trying to run. So yeah, that B8
Awesome.
tune is pretty rock solid.
That's great. Yeah, we had it at the track last week at Laguna. That car got flogged session after session.
I gave a lot of rides in that car. Yeah.
Yeah, Nate was driving it too.
But yeah, it had like a 5 mile an hour faster trap than the previous record. So I mean, it's right now on a stock turbo, it's like 4 or 5 down from fastest KO4 file. So it's pretty quick.
KO4 is coming. there's a severe lack of good KO4 tunes on the B8 market.
Yes, we've already got turbo on route. That's coming up next for that car.
Cool.
So those things
Great.
are going to be
Very exciting.
pretty potent.
Any new products planned for the 4.0 TC7? We are working on a tuning program for that, so we will have that.
Oh yeah, we got more coming for that.
There are various products as well, but I think we're working on intake and turbo inlets and things like that. But maybe we'll give it more priority next year. I'm not sure, but definitely tuning. We want to. 4.2 is a very popular tuning platform. We want our perspective to be out there.
Yep.
Hey guys, I love the SQ5 B9 Stage 2. Only thing I'm disappointed with is the cold start has been replaced with the RS start up. Any chance you can bring it back to stock cold start?
We don't generally run stock cold start with a stage 2 file. That's
No.
You're running catalyst heating stuff on a this is a racing application, so there's not really a point to it, other than making a lot more noise than it needs to.
Assuming that you're on stage 2 means you have a high flow cat.
Yes.
So, that's a lot of it's a function of just the fact that you have a high flow cat on the car, and there's the stock startup strategy is for an OEM cat. So probably not likely, no. Can I use the smaller Wagner intercooler for your Stage 1 Plus on a 2018 TTRS? Also, do I need the inlet pipe with the cold air intake system?
I mean, you certainly can use it. It will be better than the factory cooler, which is woefully inadequate on those. Those cars you kind of can't over intercool though. So
yeah,
the more the merrier.
The smaller Wagner is still huge. It's really big. There's the bigger version is just marginally bigger. They add a little bit at the top.
Yeah, the crash bar. It's
above the crash bar.
Integrated
So.
with the crash bar.
I think if you're staying 1 Plus and you're not flogging the car in really hot weather, you'll be fine. Our X34 Intake is a really nice addition to that car. It makes very big power improvements, as well as it really unleashes a lot of the 5-cylinder sounds as well. So I definitely recommend doing that. It's a beautiful piece. We have the full system that includes the fresh air duct in the front and a whole new air box.
Yep.
And I think it's like $1,300. It's a really trick setup. So I'd recommend getting all that. The power gains are
and then the
like 20 plus horsepower.
I think I'm not sure they're asking about an inlet pipe. I don't know if that's the turbo inlet. That is another pretty substantial restriction on the stock car.
So and we're about to release one soon.
Yep.
So hang tight. We'll have one.
Recommended. Our intake works with either, so you can certainly step into the different inlets as you go.
Yeah. S34 MQB intake ETA. Intakes are tough right now, but we did just get in a huge shipment of air filters.
Yes, we should
from our manufacturer. We don't make air filters. So I don't know. It's not too far off. It's like maybe in the next month or two. So hang tight. We'll get it to market. It's going to be soon. Mark 7 tuning update. Will the EQT Vortex off-the-shelf tune be released soon? Garrett offerings.
Yes, on both. The Vortex one is, we're midway through it right now. So, it's going well.
Yeah, it's good.
Yep, and we're going to get Garrett offerings up on there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll probably be starting, I think, with the smaller Garrett offering. Just that turbo looks like it's a really nice price point for what it's offering.
Yeah. I think we're pretty much out of time.
We are
one last one here. Any B8 SQ5 products coming out soon?
B8 SQ5.
I don't know what we have immediately.
We released the
strut time. If you saw that, we have springs.
Tuning. We're going to be doing more. The ZF8 stuff is being worked on currently. That's the next kind of big thing for those cars.
Wheels. We have our 20-inch wheels, 20 by 10s. That I think we just released, or will be. Or did we just release the 21s? Okay. Yeah, so check out the new ZTF wheels if you're interested in wheels. So, okay, well, we're out of time. Thanks for joining us. And have a great week. If we see you at SEMA, it'll be awesome. Enjoy, and we'll see you next week.
See you later.
Cheers.